Alright, boys and girls, moms and dads, aunts and uncles. In today's video, I'm going to share with you all how I was able to afford a brand new truck in 2025 without winning the lottery, getting some huge family inheritance, robbing a bank, taking a loan from a bank, committing insurance fraud, or using any money from Doomsday Diesel. Now, the short answer is I got another job. But to me, it's not really a job, it's a hobby because I enjoy it. I was able to make enough money to buy this 2025 Cummins by flipping cars. And no.
He's airborne!
Not that kind of flipping. Buying and selling cars for a profit, which we all know as flipping cars. So about 9 years ago, I started what I called my truck fund. And at the time, I didn't know what this was going to be for. I just knew that someday I was going to see some really big, really cool truck that I wouldn't otherwise be able to afford, and I wanted to save up for it. So this has been going on for 9 years. So if you think you're going to go out and watch this video, and I'm going to tell you how you'll be able to just go buy a brand new truck next week, sorry. Unless you find a major barn find, I doubt that's going to happen. It is going to take some time. But going back to the beginning, I always used to love this show called Fast and Loud, which you might also know as Gas Monkey Garage. Now that show got really corny in the end. It's like reality TV. It was all scripted. But at the very beginning of that show, when it was low budget, they didn't have a huge crew, they didn't have a ton of money, they would hook the trailer up to the truck, go out early on a Saturday or Sunday morning, and go for this long road trip. And it was basically this crazy adventure, and they would see what they could find, and they'd go look for like a barn find, they'd bring it back to their shop, they'd fix it up, and they'd flip it for a profit. And that story, that whole thing just always resonated with me. And so, like, the most fun part of it, to me, is hooking up a trailer, hopping in the truck, and there's just something about towing a trailer down the road that is fun. And if you get to put a truck on it and haul that truck back, man, that I'm like a pig in crap when, I'm driving back. It's just, that is fun to me. That's probably why I have the problem I do with all these vehicles sitting around, because it's just the act of actually towing them home. It's, bartering is part of it, getting to hand cash out or take cash in, all of it. It's fun. But to me, the biggest fun part is towing it home on a trailer with a big truck like this. So, like I said, 9 years ago, I've been flipping trucks since at least 2010, which, that's about 16 years worth of flipping trucks. But then graduated college, got my first house, and now I'm making good money as an engineer. I take one of my paychecks where I have a little bit of extra money, and I go out, I buy a truck, I bring it home, I clean it up, I sell it, I make a profit. That's a flip. I take that profit, invest it into the next one. Sometimes I go bigger, sometimes I go smaller. It always just depends. It's a case-by-case basis. But I found out pretty quickly there's a lot of money to be had. There's a good deal of luck, but you also have to have some knowledge on what's hot, what's being undersold. But there's three main rules that I go by when it comes to being able to flip a vehicle and make a good profit. Number one is when you find a vehicle that's going to be a good deal, it's a good deal, you jump on it. You don't wait around and hee-haw and message the seller and say, hey, if you have it in 2 weeks, I'll finally have a free Sunday, I'll come get it. No. If you find that listing on Friday night, you're on your way Saturday morning. If you find that listing on a Tuesday night, you're hooking the trailer up and taking the trailer to work with you. And you're either getting off work early at lunch on Wednesday, or you're leaving right after you get off work on Wednesday, and you're going and getting it. Because the good deals where money is there to be made, they don't sit around and wait for you. And I've been burned enough times. It did not take me long at all to learn my lesson there. Number two, the biggest flips I've had are from lazy people not cleaning their vehicles, posting them up, trash all over the floor, mud still just smeared down the side of the truck. They don't take clear pictures, they're fuzzy. Figured out pretty quickly, if I buy a dirty vehicle, I bring it back, do a deep clean on it, if I can take a dirty vehicle and make it look, essentially brand new or as good as new, those have been my easiest and biggest profits. Just taking dirty vehicles, which are being undersold. Let's be fair, they're being undersold because they're dirty. People don't want to jump into a truck that's got cigarette butts all over the floor. Putting that elbow grease in, putting that effort, that sweat, yeah, sometimes deep cleans will take me 8 hours. If it's a really bad one, it'll take me a full 8 hours. I've done it several times. But that's my second tip. Number 3 is you need to know your price, set your price, and stick to it. The easiest way to lose money when selling something is to sell in desperation. If you got to sell a vehicle because you have to, because you need the money, there's a very low chance that you're actually going to get what that vehicle's worth. I'm talking about being willing to sit on a vehicle for a full year if needed, 2 years. My biggest flip ever, I sat on that for 5 years. Waited for the right buyer to come along. Now, the problem today is everybody uses Facebook Marketplace instead of Craigslist. And the problem with Facebook is there's so many trolls, and it's so easy for people to troll you and discourage you, try to bring you down. They can laugh at your listing. They can comment stupid things on your listing. And they've made it so incredibly easy for those trolls to instantly message you and bombard you with messages like, is this still available? And there's no repercussions. There's no consequences for it. Craigslist, it took a lot more effort to email somebody and really harass them. So that's the bad thing with Facebook Marketplace. And on my biggest flips, I get the most trolls. Believe it or not, people, there's something with jealousy, I guess. People see you selling something that they want, or see you selling something for a high price and they wish they had it, or they wish they had kept theirs, whatever the case may be. It's a mental and emotional game. You can't just keep your nose under the hood. You got to deal with a bunch of these clowns out there. And some of them will even waste your time and set up a deal and try to get you to meet them, and then they don't show up. That's another part of it. So, there is that aspect. You are going to have to deal with that. But again, just knowing your price, knowing its realistic value, knowing what you can get, and sticking to that is going to get you your biggest profit. Now, over the course of these 9 years, I have bought and sold a lot of crazy stuff. So I'm going to just put my pictures up here and let them scroll by for you. And I got them here on my phone. I'm going to look through them and just kind of give you a little bit of a verbiage on each one as we go through. All right, so the very first one was this deuce and a half. The tan one, I actually went to buy it with my original deuce and a half. I flat towed it with the military tow bar, towed that back to Kansas, cleaned it up. I had to replace the transmission, do a bunch of other crap to it. Got it running and driving because it didn't do either one when I bought it. And at that time, I was an engineer at Titan Trailers, and we had the company trailer, the green one, in this next picture. And I got to use my Duramax to tow this to the guy who was buying it. That was a huge leap of faith. And I made it there. Actually passed a lady with that pickup and trailer, with that load. I passed a lady doing like 55 and a 65. And we were doing this like on a work night. We were trying to get there before it got dark. And we made it. And that was a sweet flip. That was the first one. I only paid $1,000 for that truck. I sold it for $4,000. And so that just opened up the door immediately. Had $3,000 to play with to go buy the next thing. So the next one was this little white Mazda pickup, and I drove the freaking wheels off that thing. Hauled scrap metal with it, moved trees around with it, like trees and branches, moved a ton of Doomsday diesel parts around with it. I think I put like 40,000 miles on that truck. Drove that in Kansas and Nebraska when I moved back to Nebraska. Didn't make a huge profit on it, but I made money, and that's what counts. The next truck I got into was the Toyota 22 RTE, the Turbo 22R. And this one was a ton of work. I mean, I welded in new body panels, put doors and windows in it, a whole new bed, did a whole paint job, painted the chassis, suspension work, tires, interior. I didn't make as much money on that truck as I should have. It was a learning experience. That was the one that taught me you need to stick to your guns, know the value, set the price, and stick to it, because I let some idiot Jew me down on this one, and I'll never forgive myself for that one. I'm probably going to go out of order on some of these others, but those were the first big ones for me. That deuce and a half was huge. So then I got another Toyota. Actually, I bought this gray Toyota before I bought that second deuce and a half, but it took me several years of messing around with it. I diesel swapped it, sold it. I made a nice profit on that. And then this red Toyota, also got it about the same time. I took a ton of parts off of it, and then I ended up scrapping it. So yeah, okay, it's not 100. This story isn't 100% about flipping vehicles. Some of it is just scrapping them after I buy it and then I part it out. I sell a bunch of parts and then scrap what's left at the end, but you're still selling the vehicle one way or the other. And then I started getting into cleaning up stuff for neighbors and properties that we bought. So this green Maverick and the tan Maverick, and then there's actually like a 1950s Ford in the trailer there. Those were all this crazy guy's cars, and we bought the property after he died, and so those all just went to scrap. Those were absolutely disgusting. And then in that same year, I also got this 1980 K30, and so I got that cheap. Used the front axle in my Toyota pickup, my 86. Parted this thing out. I sold all sorts of stuff off of it, and then I scrapped it, so I came out money way ahead on that truck. And later on that year, I got another 6x6 5-ton and sold that. I actually made less on that one than I did on the tan deuce and a half, but I still made several thousand on that one. Then I went through a V6 F-150. That guy just really wanted that truck. I was blown away that he paid as much as he did for that. Had a blown head gasket. And then the red F-150, that had a 5.4 V8. And that was the one where I realized it's all about how you clean it. I made that thing look absolutely just beautiful inside and outside, and that was an easy sell. I would soon come to realize I really didn't need the deuce and a half anymore. I wasn't driving it. The mice were starting to get into it. I got to dress up and play Santa Claus with it one year, and I drove it through several blizzards, got to pull people out of blizzards. Had fun in it, did a complete restoration on that, so I made bank on that thing, and rightfully so, because I put just an absolute crap load of blood, sweat, and tears into that thing. I actually daily drove that my senior year in college. I bought it, it was tan, did a full paint job, full-blown restoration on it. So I actually kind of missed that one. As we were cleaning up some of our properties, I got into helping neighbors clean up theirs, and so I got to haul this little red car in for scrap, and that was just a couple $100, but money's money. It was on my way to work. It's not like I was going out of the way to take it in for scrap. And then before you know it, my grandpa had his first truck was his blue truck, like his first new truck, I guess. And so that thing was completely shot because I wanted to fix it up. That's why I took it. And once I got through it, quickly realized almost every single component on that truck would have had to have been replaced. There would have been nothing original left. It actually got sold. It didn't go to scrap. It got sold. I have no idea why the guy bought it. He saw something that I definitely didn't. After that, I got this maroon C10 or C15, whatever you call it. I actually kind of regret selling that. I wanted the money instead of another project at that time. I thought about putting a 6BT Cummins in it, but ended up selling that and made some decent profit on that. And then same grandpa that had the blue truck, he actually fell asleep and almost died in this white Cadillac, and that was like his favorite car. He's had that thing since I was a little kid. That one, I went and picked it up. I winched it onto the trailer and then wound up using the forks to set it on the flatbed truck to haul it in for scrap. Black Toyota Tacoma. Hauled all sorts of stuff with that. Like I mentioned in one of my other videos, I think that's the truck that probably did the most damage to my back. That vehicle is one of the biggest reasons I wanted to get a new truck that would save my back. But I made a killing on that truck as well. Sold that when Toyotas were really hot. They've come way down since then. That was another one. You had to be patient because I had all sorts of people laughing at me, calling me an idiot for my asking price. But no, I did great on that truck. But I also did a ton of body work to that truck. Actually, I sold that at the same time I sold the red F-150. And so, again, I spent like 8 hours doing a deep clean on that. The Land Rover, I used that to do the TDI Land Rover adapter kits and then parted that out and scrapped that. The Tan 300D, I actually ended up cleaning that up, did a bunch of cleanup on the engine and sold that. And the customer who came to pick that car up, I actually talked him into bringing me this Cuck V. So this Cuck V was in rough shape when I got it. It was like all flat black primer. Did a ton of body work, did a full paint job. That was another one. The whole cab was full of like sweat and dog hair. Like, I don't know. It was like greasy dog hair. It was freaking disgusting. And hot seed the whole interior out, took the seat out, and hot seed the whole thing out. And that ended up being a beautiful truck. I made, again, good money. Not great money because I waited until the square body market had simmered down a little bit. That one was actually supposed to go on the Big Fish auction, but I was like a week too late to get it put on that auction. That probably hurt me. I probably lost a couple thousand on that truck. And I was in the square bodies for a little bit. Started a website called thesquarebodyranch.com. Bought this blue and silver Suburban. Did a deep clean on it. That was a barn find. It was full of mouse crap. That one actually took the better part of 2 days to deep clean and get it running good, shifting good. Ended up making a couple thousand on that one. Now you're going to see this gray Duramax in a bunch of these pictures, and that's because that's the one I was telling you I should have never sold that truck. I should have invested more money into it, and I'm not sure I would have bought this Cummins. Here you can see him hauling a generator that had a 4BT in it and ended up selling the generator on auction. So I got into kind of playing with auctions, trying to find stuff that was selling too low, like they didn't advertise it long enough or people just didn't happen to be bidding on it. So the gray Duramax, well, that was actually the first one. I bought that for $3,230. That's a 2006 LBZ four-wheel drive. Had 170,000 miles on it, and I got it for $3,200. And so found this generator, got that for a little over $1,000, and then doubled my money on that. And then I took my money from that winning, went and bought this Ford 7.3 diesel. Ended up being an IDI. I screwed up. I got my years wrong, and I thought this was the first year of the Power Stroke, but it was actually the last year of the indirect injected. But it had this 11-foot bed on it, had a snow plow, but this stupid thing was two-wheel drive. It was an F450. It had this massive rear axle and massive wheels. They were like the 10-bolt wheels. It had a manual transmission. I just could not figure out for the life of me why they would build this thing with a two-wheel drive truck. But I sold that. I made good money on that one. The guy that hauled that away used like a little 5-lug trailer, and the wheels looked like they were going to bend and bust off when he left. I could not believe he brought that dinky little trailer to haul that thing away. I ended up painting that entire truck. When I bought the Duramax, it was white, it was rusty. I got like a brand new bed for it from someone who put a flatbed on their new truck the day they got it home. Had that bed linered at Linex, got a new hood for it, built the same headache rack for it that I have on my black one, new tires and wheels. I mean, I put a ton of effort into this thing. I did rocker panel replacements and cab corners. Learned a lot about bodywork on this truck. Sold it. I mean, yeah, I made really good money on this one because I got it for nothing. Actually, I think I made closer to 8,000 profit on that one. But again, I wish I wouldn't have sold it. I would love to go back in time and not sell that truck. And after that truck is kind of when I got that truck, that was like, good ride quality, had plenty of power. I'm moving all sorts of crazy loads around with that thing. And then that's when I got into like the little black Tacoma, and it kind of went downhill for a long time after that, after I sold that Duramax. Then we have these Parachargers. So my brother had this '09. He rolled that. I just pretty much parted that out and scrapped it. And then my 16, I did body work on that and did a deep clean on that. That was another one that was mouse infested. Tinted the windows, a lot of body work and cleaning, and made pretty decent money on that one. I think I made $2,000 on that one. This black FJ80, yet another one, deep clean. It was disgusting when I got it. Like kids spilled food all over in the back seat. So this guy had put like a new carpet kit in it and didn't really bother to clean it up. Kind of just, went through it really quickly. And so I picked that one up for about half of what I sold it for. And then, of course, my gray Duramax with the black ranch hand grill guard on the front that I was driving for the last couple of years while I was looking for a dually Duramax. Made a little over $1,000 on that one, which is crazy for how many miles I put on it. But came out really good on that deal. I always make the point to make money on a vehicle. I don't care if I put miles on it. If I sell it, I'm going to sell it for more than I bought it for. Just because I don't know if I'm that adamant about finding a good deal when I buy something, or if I'm that good at bartering people down, or if I'm just that good at selling used vehicles higher, or maybe it's a combination of all the above. Then the really big one, like I said, I had this thing listed for 5 years, this Army van, put a fair amount of work into it. I'm not going to say a ton of work. I put the bigger tires and wheels on it. I cleaned it out because the whole box was full of junk. I swapped a seat in the interior. That's about it. And that was just one of those things where all those vans got scrapped because nobody wanted them. And that was actually when I bought my first house that I bought that van. And I was bidding on 2 of them. And I only had enough money to buy one because the rest of my money was going into this new house I was buying, or I would have been buying a dozen of these things. But it was just the supply and demand thing that made these worth a bunch, is the fact all of them got scrapped. Now there's none left. And now if you want one, you have very slim pickings. And this was by far the cleanest one on auction in probably the whole United States. So I made out really well on that deal. That was actually what got me like even in the ballpark of being able to look at it 2025 was once I sold that. And you got to have some of those. You're going to have some of these, like I said, I'm making a couple $100, and you got to have some that you're making several $1,000s, or you're going to take forever to get up to your goal. And then lastly, and most recently, I was able to flip this M1031 Cuck V and did really good on that one because, again, people that were selling it didn't know what they had. They didn't clean it at all. It was freaking disgusting. It's full of mouse crap when I got it, and I spent a whole day cleaning it, getting it in as presentable of condition as I could, and that is what made the sale. And so, guys, thanks for listening to my story about my adventures on how I was able to flip my way into this new 2025 Cummins. I hope maybe this will inspire you to go out and try your luck at buying something and selling it for a profit. It doesn't have to be a truck. I sold that generator. That was kind of a different one for me. You can look at auctions. You can look at eBay. You can hop on Craigslist or Marketplace. You can go to garage sales. You can go to the Goodwill or the Salvation Army. The deals are out there. The money's there to be made. It just takes someone with some determination and some motivation and a willingness to work and put a little bit of effort into it. And obviously some equity that you can sink into an investment, because that's what these are. These are investments. You buy them, you fix them up, you clean them up, and you sell them, and you make money, because that's the goal. And it's hard for me to believe, just looking at this thing, with 2025 costs, it's nuts. It's stupid. But, it's money I made from a hobby that I love. Am I going to keep doing it? I plan to. Am I going to do it as aggressively now that I kind of hit my main goal? Probably not. I'm probably going to try to shift my efforts and my time to something else. I kind of had my fun run over the last, 16 years of flipping trucks. That's actually how I started Doomsday Diesel. Was I bought a Dodge Power Wagon, a 79, fixed it up, flipped it, made like $3,000 on it, and then I used that money to do the first OM617 swap in my 86 Toyota. So I'm always finding a way to flip stuff to pay for other projects. I can't wait to see what I come up with next. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in our next video.